Hey everyone, welcome to our amazing, incredible online event called the Freedom Movement. My name is Julie Migneault and I'm here with my partner in crime, Shereen, and today we are interviewing Rhonda Britten, and they are just working out a little technical glitch to make sure that Rhonda can get in, we can see her and have live interaction. It's going to be a super interactive event today. We're going to be answering your questions. Rhonda's going to be answering your questions. So just do a little dance with us as we kind of shake it off and get the technology going. It's actually so incredible that we can be gathering from all over the world online live, and you can see us talking and we can get your chats. So just to start with some of the logistical stuff, go over to the chat area of your screen. My name is Julie Migneault and I'm here with my partner in crime, Shereen, and today we are interviewing Rhonda Britten. Let me just see where that's coming from. Sorry, guys. Go on over to the chat and just chat me up and let me know if you can hear me so that we are all connected. Let me just see. And then go ahead and share your intention for what you'd like to get out of your time with us today and with Rhonda, and what you're really looking to create, what kind of business or freedom that you really want, because we are here to serve you. We really want to make this interactive and actually coach you and guide you and share with you. Rhonda is incredible. She's helped hundreds of thousands of people to really step into their power. She has an incredible story to share with us. It's absolutely touched my heart, and I know it's going to touch your heart. And it's just a gift that we have her time today, that she's generously here, and it's not something that to take for granted that we get to actually ask her our personal one-on-one questions. So I'm super stoked, and I hope that you are too. Thank you, Laurel. She says she can hear me. Yay, we're getting going. Ellen, yes. Thank you. Go ahead and share with us, what would you like to receive today? What is it that you're looking to create in your life? Just answering that question is going to bring more clarity for you. And if you're hearing an echo, Leslie says she's hearing an echo. I'm not hearing it on my end, so I'm wondering if you either need to listen with a headset. Sometimes it can reverberate through your own machinery, so just check that out. Because is anybody else hearing an echo? John can hear me fine. His intention is to connect to a positive group of people. That's awesome. So just give me a second. Rhonda's here. I can see. I'm just trying to make sure she can get in live. So I'm going to just work on that for a second. Shereen, maybe you could pop in and intro us so I can see if I can invite Rhonda in. Let's see. I don't know if Shereen can hear me on her side. Can't hear you. Hey, you're still muted.
Hi, guys. Oh my goodness, it's crazy trying to figure out this whole thing. Like, Julie's in Maui, me and Rhonda over here in LA. I'm like on the phone with Rhonda. We're doing Google things. It's nuts. But we definitely want to thank you for sticking with us. We were afraid we were going to lose you, but I can see there's actually people jumping in. Nobody's dropping out, so thank you for sticking with us. Rhonda's currently like on the cusp. Like she said, she could see the chat. She said that she was like almost in. So I am just crossing my fingers, sending prayers, white light, all the good things I can do to make it happen. So yeah, so how about we just have some fun with the chat? Like, while we have some time together, why not, right? How is everyone feeling today? How's everybody doing today? Chat me how you're doing. And since I asked the question, I'm just going to assume that you've asked me back. I know you're curious how I am as well. And currently, my state of being is really excited, actually. I'm super excited about Rhonda. She's one of my favorites in the industry. And her message is so in alignment with what Julie and I are all about, which is really just like changing everything, all your fears into fuel so that you can have ultimate freedom and expression and all that good stuff in your life. So we are stoked to share that with you today. I'm stoked to commune with Rhonda. Any day with her is a gift, as you guys all know. So we're just going to have some fun. I love it. Laurel says she has a passion to share her personal life story to educate others in regard to trauma, surviving and thriving after trauma, and living with post-traumatic stress. It's amazing. And she already has an established charity, which she's working on. That's amazing, Laurel. Heck yeah. Go on with your bad self. I'm going to see how Rhonda's doing. Is that weird that I talked to Rhonda on the phone while I'm with you guys? Rhonda, how are you?
Hey, I just sent her a link so that hopefully that will get her in. You give us the update, Shereen. So I'd love to hear for those of you who joined us yesterday.
Oh, okay, great. I will let Julie know that that is what we need. Julie?
Yeah?
Rhonda needs your email and password for Webinar Jam. That is what it's saying that she needs to get in.
Okay, I'll send that.
Okay, good.
Okay,
so
cool.
Julie's sending it to you right now, Rhonda. Awesome. Yes. I love Rhonda. She's totally keeping it positive. She's like, we're doing it. We're going to get in. I believe. It's amazing. I love it. I see classic. Classic. Thank you. Thank you, girlfriend. I'm so glad to see you on. I definitely tried to do a little makeup, do a little hair, get ready for y'all. So I appreciate you checking me out. There's definitely a lot of people on today. I'm really excited. I can tell the freedom movement is like gaining momentum. Like yesterday we had a bunch of people on and now we actually have double the amount. So it's growing and growing and it's really exciting. There's just a lot of people in the world who are really, I'm just going to keep gabbing if that's cool with you guys. There's just a lot of people in the world who are really hungry for living out their full passion, soulful experience. Like, I think the American dream is actually really changing at this point in the game. I don't think people just want the house and the white picket fence and all that kind of, I think that's an old American dream. I think the new American dream is entrepreneurship, living out your soul's true calling, you know, really being fully expressed in who it is that you're meant to be. And so it's exciting to be a part of that kind of a movement. Laurel, you're so sweet. You're welcome for the encouragement. I love our little chats. It's awesome. So yeah, for those of you who have not told me how you're doing, I'm still waiting to hear. I told you how I was doing. Don't hold out on a sister.
I think this is really fun. We're just rolling with it. This is what it's all about, right? I think this is so fun. And I really want to hear from people from what was like one aha moment you got out of being here yesterday. Like if you were here yesterday, what was something that came to you, some new clarity? Share. Let's share, and we're gonna. And if you have some questions that came out of that, or that you have starting, let Shereen and I coach you. We're here to dive in as we get our guest of honor up and running.
Yeah. So feel free to chat in. Oh, thank you, John. John says we're looking good. So sweet. So yeah, if you guys have any like questions or thoughts on your heart right now, feel free to chat them in. And like Julie said, we are here for you. I feel like I keep freezing. Is that just on my end, or do you guys see that as well? Oh, Laurel is okay. So Laurel says that she needs support with funding for her charity. That is a good one. And actually, if I were you, I would seek out people who are specifically meant to get funding for nonprofits. There's actually really great people out there who are grant writers and know exactly what to do to get that kind of funding. So I have a personal contact for someone I know who does it. I'm sure if you, I'd be happy to send that information to you if you just email me at Shereen@awakentherebel.com. But other than that, I would say do research on finding someone who knows exactly how to create that kind of funding because, oh my gosh,
oh my God, I'm on my iPad. I did it. We did it together.
Awesome. That is
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh my God, I just turned off my phone. Oh my God, we did it. Okay,
yes.
Talk about power of women, right? Talk about power of women. So I am here on my iPad. I've tried my phone. I've tried my computer. And finally, we're on the iPad. Yay!
Yay!
Oh, Rhonda, thank you so much for being here and for your perseverance. I really thank you. I know it took some real persistence to get you here, and I know everybody who's here is so excited. I'm so excited to connect with you. Yay!
Yay! I'm so excited too. Thank you so much for trying to, because you could have easily given up. So I'm really grateful that you kept going. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here.
Totally. up on Rhonda. Are you crazy, girl? All right, so now that she's here, I'm going to get this party started so that we do not waste another moment. So I just really want to thank you guys for all being here. Welcome to the Freedom Movement. This is where we really work on awakening you to your highest calling and building that badass business and lifestyle that you want, that you crave, that you desire. I am your host, Shereen Thor, along with my amazing and beautiful co-host, Julie Migneault. And as you know, the person who's going to help us to, handle this little mission we got here is Miss Amazing Rhonda Britten. So thank you, Rhonda, for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be part of the Freedom Movement.
Yes. So, Julie, I know you have some logistical info for us before we get started. So I don't know if you already covered it. You might have actually when you were chatting it up earlier.
I did. I just want everybody to know that this is we want you to get some amazing value, and just I'm so excited that you're going to get this time with Rhonda because it's a gift. And so make sure to utilize the chat. Just chat us up. You're all doing awesome at that. We're going to be asking your questions. We're going to be answering you. So make sure to be checking that out. I want to tell you a little bit about Rhonda before we dive in. Rhonda is an Emmy Award winner, repeat Oprah guest, 4-time best-selling author, including the national hit Fearless Living. She is here to help you unlock any fear that's holding you back, giving you permission to live your life your way, fearlessly. And I've just personally been touched reading her story, finding out more about how she's transformed, and so I'm super excited that we get to dive in. Thank you for being with us today, Rhonda. Again, and I'd love to just hear from you to start a little bit about that journey. What that experience, like I've read a little bit about it, but I'd love for our audience to hear how you really transformed your life and what was going on for you before you stepped into this role as a coach, as a healer, as an inspirational woman in the world.
Well, I'm so grateful that you consider me a healer and an inspirational gift and a coach and an author. I appreciate that so much. And definitely 40 years ago, 30 years ago, barely 20 years ago, if you would have said that to me, I would have looked at you and laughed. And so the first thing that I want everybody to anchor right now is that the impossible is possible. I really want you to anchor that right now, that a view of yourself that you don't think is possible is actually possible. I had a woman at an event this weekend ask me, oh, my brother is so-and-so, he's suicidal, he's going through a deep depression. And I said, yes, and that's him now. And you have to be open and available for it to change, right? So that's the first thing I want before I enter my story, is that no matter where you are right now, no matter how high you are, you can go higher. No matter how ambitious you are, you can get those things done. And no matter how frustrated or gut stuck you feel, that can change. And it can literally change today in an instant. And that's what I'm knowing can happen right now with us together as a group with this setting this intention. So what Julie's asking me about is my personal journey of hell to heaven, so to speak, right? And to tell you the short version is when I was 14 years old, I was living a typical Minnesota family. I was just a regular family, right? 2 parents, 3 kids. I'm the middle girl, and my parents were going through a divorce, and that back then was normal too, right? Normal today. And I hadn't seen my father for a few months, and he was coming over to take us to Sunday brunch. And I don't know about you, but going out to Sunday brunch was a big deal, and so I was pretty excited to go. And we, get all ready. We're getting all ready. My dad walks in, clang, clang. He's hurrying us up. My mom's getting ready with her boucle fond hairdo and her blue eyeshadow and her rose-colored lipstick. And my dad looks at me and he's like, I need a coat. I need a coat. It's starting to drizzle. And I'm like, okay, got it. And he's going to go get his coat from the car. And so as me and my mom start walking out, and my dad's rummaging in his trunk for his coat, my 2 sisters are still in the bathroom fighting it out. In the corner of my eye, I see that my father has not grabbed a coat for the rain. No, he has grabbed a gun, and he starts screaming at my mother, "You made me do this. It's your fault. You made me do this." And I start screaming, "Dad, what are you doing? Stop, Dad, what are you doing?" And he takes the gun, and he points it at me. And I absolutely believe I'm next. And with my mother, my father had already shot her once, and my mother, seeing my father have that gun in my face, she just screamed out, "No." And it literally was her last words, "No, don't." And he turned the gun towards my mother again, realizing she was still alive, and shot her a second time. And that second bullet went through my mother's abdomen, out her back, and landed in the car horn. And all I heard for the next 20 minutes was, and then my father came running next to me, literally 2 feet away from me, put the gun to his head and fired. Wow. Now, I'm 14 years old, and in a matter of 2 minutes, I was the sole witness to my father murdering my mother and committing suicide in front of me. And you know, I don't know what you would have done in that situation. All I can tell you is what I did. And what I did is I beat myself up. I mean, I was so ashamed of myself that I didn't save my mother. I did nothing heroic. I didn't grab the gun. I didn't jump in front of my mother. I didn't, you know, try to trick my father. I didn't kick him in the knees. I just stood frozen. I just stood frozen. And I blamed myself for the next 20 years. And now if you would have met me, I mean, I was a straight A student. And I would have told you that day I forgave my father. That day, at the time, I was planning on being a minister. And so, you know, the minister came over that afternoon and, you know, talking about forgiveness. And I was like, I forgave my father. Yeah, I forgive him. I get it, you know. And I really believe I had, you know. And I didn't hate God. I just felt like he asked me too much. I think he asked too much of me. This is too much. You're asking too much. And so I put my desire to be a minister on hold. And basically for the next 20 years, I lived 2 lives. On one hand, I was a straight A student and class president and lead and score of the basketball team. Got a full ride to college. On the other hand, I had nightmares every single night. My father was killing me every single night in my dreams. I drank. I got 3 DUIs, went to jail, tried to kill myself 3 times. And it was the 3rd suicide attempt that I realized something. Now, mind you, during that whole time, I'm taking workshops, reading books, going to therapy. It wasn't like I wasn't trying. Remember, I'm smart. I went to therapy literally a month after my parents died. I was in therapy. So it's not like I wasn't trying to do things for myself. But it was that 3rd suicide attempt that I realized something. I realized I'm not very good at killing myself. That's one thing. And I've got to figure out another way. Nobody's coming to save me. And all these books make me feel good, and these workshops make me feel good, and they give me tools and strategies, but they don't fundamentally make me feel better about me. In the middle of the night, when I am crying myself to sleep, those tools and strategies don't make me feel enough. And so I realized that and this sounds so arrogant to say, but it's like nothing worked, and I figured I had to do something, so I started making up things for myself. And this was not good news for me, because I felt me making up exercises for myself, you know, which is now fearless living, which is so surprising to me, at the time was really embarrassing. And I want you to hear this too. So if you're an entrepreneur, or if you have a business idea, or a creative hobby that you want to do, it's embarrassing at first to think that who are you, Rhonda Britten, to make up your own exercises. If therapy doesn't work, if workshops don't work, if books don't work, then you must be really, really effed up. You must be beyond hope. So if you've got that thing that's sparking within you, and you're saying to yourself, who am I? Who am I? I said the same thing. Who am I? But I was desperate. And so I set about making up exercises for myself. And like I said, they're really the heart of fearless living now today. Again, I didn't have any intention of talking to you. I didn't have any intention of helping anyone but myself. That grew over time. People started noticing my changes, and they started asking me how I did it. And I literally, when they first started asking me, I remember at church in the parking lot, I was like, this couple came up to me and was like, hey, Rhonda, you're so different. What are you doing? And I'm like, again, I was embarrassed. Like, I can't tell them what I'm doing. Like, this is like, they're going to at me like I'm a crazy person. And but they kept bugging me. And I want to God bless that couple. I want to bless them so much because their persistence got me to share one of my exercises. And then the next week at church, they came to me and said, "Oh my God, it's working. Give us another." And that was the seed drop, seed drop. You mean other people? You mean other people? You mean other people? So this is the journey. And from the time that I started having those seeds dropping in that third suicide attempt, there was some time in between in order for me to own it, integrate it, practice it, start living it before I even dared think about sharing it with anybody else. And that too, I started sharing it with other people because it wasn't definitely my idea. It was definitely other people's idea, and I succumbed to it because I knew internally, I knew inside that I was supposed to, but I didn't. I really was like, the whole time. So whatever you're thinking about in your life, whether it's about falling in love or getting married or starting to date again or open your business or just quit complaining about your family or have the best holiday you could this next coming season, whatever it is, there might be some part of you that's going, I know. It's part of the journey. The is part of it, right? So the joy is, and the opportunity is just like me. I don't care where you are. I don't care where you've been. I don't care how bad your life is. I don't care if your family hates you. I don't care if you're piss poor broke. I don't give a crapola about your circumstances. I know freedom is right here for you. I know that to be true. And that's why I'm so excited to be here, because I've lived it. I've walked it. And if there's any way I can support you on this journey so you can walk it too, I am right here with you. Me and you right here. So, and I believe that to the core of my being, and it is the reason I exist on this planet. And it's what keeps me alive and awake and wondering and growing. It is my mission, because I don't want anyone to suffer like I did. I don't want anyone to live in that hell that I did. I don't want anyone to die like my mother did. I don't want anyone to feel like a failure or a used up piece of doo-doo like I did. Never in my... If you're in my purview, if you're in my circle, that ain't happening in my world. So bring it on, freedom. Bring it on.
Bring it on. Gosh, Rhonda, it's so amazing. Like I'm not gonna lie, I could probably hear your story over and over again, and it would never ever lose the weight and the juice and like how much soul comes out when I listen to you talk. I remember the first time I ever saw you speak. It was at Secret Knock in San Diego. Thank you, Greg Reed, okay, for having that event to have you speak. And I remember watching you, and I just got chilled over and over and over. And I'm like, who is this woman? It was such a blessing. It's crazy. It's crazy how much you have turned a very difficult, dark time into something that is so bright for so many people. It's so beautiful, and I just really want to honor you for being who you are in the world. It's powerful, and I'm really grateful.
Thank you. Thank you.
You just touched something, like there's tears in my eyes. It's like I feel like we all know, whether it's as intense of an experience as you've had or it looks very different, we all know a place of suffering and pain, and just the transmission of transformation that you offer, and even just like hearing you say like, not on your watch is anybody else gonna, just like, oh, like something in me relaxes and feels really deeply touched. And I'm just so grateful that we have a chance to really hear. And one question that arises for me is like, from your purview, having gone through what you've gone through, do you really believe and feel like that trauma that was created or that someone else has gone through can actually be released from our system and gone? Or do you feel like it's something that we learn how to manage in a different way?
Well, I'm going to give you kind of two answers on that, Julie. That's such a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. And I've actually never been asked that before in this way. So I'm so grateful that you asked it, because it is a question I think people have. It's like, oh, my mother died when I was 3. My father, beat me. I was raped when I was 16. Can I really ever transcend it? Can I ever really get away from it? And I'm going to give you two different viewpoints on this. And And the key word that I really already use is transcend it. Like, you know, I use that whole experience. Those 20 years are fodder for my growth and transformation. Those 20 years created a willingness within me and a compassion within me and a innocence within me that for me may have been able to happen a different way, but they didn't. They happened my way. So does the event in my life that in some ways for many, for my work and everything, has defined my life in some ways, you could say, right? Does your rape have to define you? Does your physical abuse have to define you? No, it doesn't. You know, one of the biggest compliments I ever received was in is I was in a workshop, and I wasn't teaching, I was actually a student. And when people, we had to go around and tell our stories, and it was like the second day we told it. So we'd been together a whole day beforehand, you know, and somebody came up to me and said, God, Rhonda, you don't wear your story at all. Like, your story is not, it's not, you are not your story. Like, you really don't walk around with it. I go, no, because I've gotten the juice out of it. I look at it. I don't turn away from it. I look towards it, and I get every juice I can from it. It has helped me become a better woman. I have looked at my mother and finally forgiven her for, you know, staying with my father for 20 years. And, you know, he tried to strangle me when I was 12. You know, she didn't kick my father out when he tried to strangle me. You know, it's like I've looked at her innocence, like, wow, a woman at that time didn't get divorced. A woman at that time to be alone. Of course, she had to choose her husband. She had to choose her husband because she had to choose all three of us, right? Instead of just me, right? So she didn't have the awakeness, the support, the courage, right? She didn't have what we have today, what we could have today if we chose it. Mm-hmm. You know, we're so blessed. We have so many opportunities. So can you transcend it? Yes. Is it something that's going to repeat at times in your life in different ways? Yes. Are there places that you're going to find that you thought you forgave and you didn't, and you have to forgive again? Yes. Is it that there's, if you think of my parents' death or that event in my life, let's think of it just for sake of simplicity as a circle, right? When they died and I forgave my father right away, because remember, I was planning on being a minister, I thought I forgave them. I thought I forgave the whole thing. No, I forgot this much. Then when I got married, I forgave this much. Again, I thought I forgave the whole thing, right? And then when I got divorced, I forgave this much, right? Because every big life event is going to trigger your big quote-unquote life lesson, right? Now, I just went on a 3-year dark night of the soul journey. I just 5 years ago packed up my car and lived in my car for 3 years and stayed at friends' houses for 3 years. I was going through a very deep dark night of the soul. Do you think forgiveness of my parents came up a different way? Yes, yeah, right? So does that mean it's not done? Does it mean that there's something wrong with me? Does it mean my forgiveness wasn't appropriate or didn't work? No. It's because I could only access this much because I was only aware that much. When my awareness increased, it opened up these pockets that now I could see that experience of my life through that filter, through this new filter, and there was forgiveness again, and then forgiveness again. So it's not like I forgive like the first few times I forgave, which is like, no, I don't forgive that anyway. I can forgive much quicker, much more gracefully, much more at ease. And yes, do I cry? Yes, I do. Yes. So it's not that your forgiveness didn't work. It's not that you go, oh, I thought I did this. It's no, you as an evolved species only were awake to this much. As you awake, other parts of you expand for you to reach your wholeness. Now, this is the thing. I want to say one caveat before I turn it back over is I know some people might be going right now, well, then I don't want to evolve. I just want to stay right here. No, sweet girl and sweet boy. No, 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 no. If you stay right here, you actually can't feel whole and complete. You actually can't get your angel wings. You can't actually fall into the center of yourself and fall in love with yourself. Mm. So you must awake. You must awake. And the good news is I'm here, Julie's here, Shereen's here, we're all here, the Freedom Movement's here, Fearless Living's here to help you with every step of the journey. So you don't have to do this alone. So this is the good news. This is the good news. So you can transcend it, yes. Will you work with it the rest of your life? Maybe.
Yeah, I find that to be true, and that it's like it's like the spiral path of healing, inward and into, and there's more juice. That's the gift of these places that they offer us as we embrace them and deepen into them. And I remember that I did a 4-year training called the Barbara Brennan School of Healing, and we would.
Did okay, my good friend did that.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. So I remember, like, you know, we were doing, like, you would write about your dark wounds, and we would have these homework assignments. And I remember in one of the first weeks of training in my first year, the dean saying, you know, like, she found her first homework from 30 years earlier, and she read it, and she said, you know, I'm still working on the same things. And I remember at that time, like, no, like, I don't want to be working on this in 30 years. But the truth is, I do want to be working on this in 30 years. I do want to be finding the juice in the next layer. And I think when we turn towards it, like you're saying, it's exactly like you're saying. That's where the wholeness is found. It doesn't become something scary that has power over us. It becomes something that transforms us and brings us to our next level. So thank you for...
It propels us, right? Mm-hmm. The reason you had your experiences, you know, we can't say, you know, was it divine destiny that you were raped? Of course not. Was it divine destiny that my father murdered my mother? Of course not. And can we say it was divine destiny to give me my future? Maybe, right? I mean, I don't believe in the law of attraction in the sense of, you know, we bring everything to us, and, you know, we bring these. I mean, I think it's the worst sin in the world when somebody goes, why are you attracting this? I think it's the worst sin in the world that we do that to human beings, and that the law of attraction or spirituality is used in that vein. So did I attract my father killing my mother? Of course not. Of course not. But it did happen, and it's up to me, and it's up to you. It's up to each of us to decide what we're going to do with it. Are we going to wallow in abandon? You know, I spent 20 years wallowing in abandon. I spent 20 years, nightmares every night, suicide attempts, alcoholism, 20 years, you know, and you got to decide when it's over for you, and we all have to do that.
What do you think
That's so good.
Sorry, I'm going to let you ask the question, Shereen.
Go, girl, you're on a roll.
I was just going to ask, what do you think it is that makes that choice point more available, right? Because we cycle, and then something will just, what is it that makes that choice point all of a sudden available for us? Or what was it for you that all of a sudden was like, now I'm making the choice?
You know, I'm going to say something a little crazy. That's my personal philosophy that I rarely talk about, but I actually think it's one of the key components, that we get more courageous and step into that choice point because we feel more loved and we feel more supported. You know, knowing that I've done it, hopefully right now, is giving you more courage to think that you can do it. Because I'm literally not that extraordinary. Remember, I wallowed in 20 years, tried to kill myself 3 times, so, you know, I'm not that bright in that way, right? So all I did was, you know, hang on for dear life, right? I just hung on for dear life. So I think our willingness to maybe say to ourselves, what if I'm wrong about how I'm handling this? And what if there is another way? And what if Julie and Shereen and Rhonda are right? And what if I can be supported? And what if they'll support me? And what if I ask for help? What if? So there has to be that choice point where you just become more willing than you were the last moment. Just a little more willing.
Beautiful. I call that that willingness, that it's like a devotion to something more, the deeper truth in us.
Yeah, but it's even harder to get to that deeper truth when you're you know, beating yourself up and putting yourself down. It's harder to believe there's a deeper truth, right? And that's the thing, you know, human reality is a veil that we put upon ourselves, that sometimes it's hard to know that the divine, right, the spirit, the greater within, right? It's you know, you're hard time paying the rent, or you want to take the course but you don't have all the money, and you think I should have all this money. I'm 52 years old, for gosh sake, I should be able to pay for this. You know, like whatever you do, right? Or if I wouldn't have just stayed married all those years, or I should have just married, you know, whatever that regret is, right? to let go of that regret, to let go, forgive, allows you to open up that more of that willingness, more of that heart space, so that you can start choosing in a more powerful place for yourself, towards yourself. And that's what I'm saying, sister.
Really. Yeah, dude, I'm quoting you left and right in this chat. Like, I hope all of our peeps are. I'm like, would somebody tweet these and at Rhonda Britten, because this is like, it's such gold. I love it. And I am laughing out loud that you even pretended you weren't extraordinary. I believe you're freaking extraordinary as all get out. But I love that you are so humble and wonderful that you're able to extend that outside of yourself and not feel like it takes away from you. That's something that Julie and I are really into, is just that sort of spirit of the win-win, you know, the spirit of really collaborating, the spirit of when I give to you, it also gives to me, and it's super fun. Like, that's why Julie and I are collaborating together. That's why we're bringing in other experts, because we don't feel like we need to, like, keep it for ourselves. We want to share, and we want to grow, and we think that brings exponential goodness. So I wanted to kind of take this time for our peeps who are at home watching, listening, chatting, to make sure you are chatting your questions over to us, because like we said, this is super juicy gold, platinum, diamond, good times with Rhonda, and I want to make sure you guys get whatever personal coaching goodness you can out of this opportunity Julie and I have created. So chat your questions, and I wanted also to sort of do a little quick plug. If you guys are in a position in your lives where you do feel like you have clarity on what it is your message is, or maybe you don't have clarity and you do want to build that badass business lifestyle that you want, Julie and I are offering extended support. So you can kind of apply for we can get on Skype, and we would do what we call a Freedom Blueprint session, where you guys can connect with us. And so you have to apply for that. I'm going to kind of display a little, I think a little button pops up. And, but it's the Freedom-Blueprint, freedom-blueprint.com/apply if you guys do want future support. And so I hope you can see the button, and if you can't, I'm sorry, we're going to have to move on because I have to get back to juicy little Rhonda. I want to ask you, Rhonda, so for the people who are on with us right now, and, you know, let's say they do know their story. Like, let's say they have their clarity on, like, what it is that's really important to them. So they've sort of awakened to their highest calling, in the sense that maybe for them it's growing into their spirituality, or maybe it is helping entrepreneurs create a business. Who knows what the heck it is. But I'm wondering, like, for you, when you knew, like, okay, this is a seed that's been planted by people who clearly are benefiting from the tools I'm creating, which ended up being your Fearless Living book, which is amazing. How did you, like, end up, like, taking it a step further to, like, either systemize it or make it a business? Like, what were the next steps that you took to make it more tangible?
You know, I basically, you know, I started coaching 20 years ago, so I'm one of the very first life coaches that existed. I don't even know if there was another woman life coach back then. I'm sure there were consultants that turned into coaches, but I don't know if there was really a coach. I'm sure there was, but I don't know who they are. So, you know, so one of the things that I did is I put my blinders on, because it was, you know, it's like awesome. Put your blinders on and just start moving forward and start listening within, and what's my next step. And I think how I started systemizing it and creating it was because my clients demanded it. You know, like how I built my business is, you know, I worked one-on-one with people. One-on-one, that's all I did. I work one-on-one with people. And I would work, oh, by the way, when I first started, I would drive to you, and I charged $25 an hour, because one, there was really no coaching, and two, how can you pay more than $25 an hour? I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So you know, $25 an hour, and I would drive to you, and I live in Los Angeles, California, which means it might take me an hour to get to your house. Okay, so just want you to get a full picture of this. It wasn't like going to the next door neighbor. I drove all over town. So for $25 an hour, and I had an SUV. So just think about that. So I was making no money hardly, right? I was still like waitressing on the side, et cetera, et cetera. And then of course my practice grew, and I had a full-time practice. And as I got a full-time practice, then clients came to me, right? Then they physically came to me because I couldn't drive anymore. I had too many clients. And then one of my clients at the time said, I would like you to come to my company to teach my employees this. I want you to teach them how to be fearless. I want you to teach them the Wheel of Fear and the Wheel of Freedom. I want you to teach them Stretch, Risk, and Die. I want you to teach them all your tools. And I'm like, I don't do that. No, I don't speak. I don't do that. I teach one-on-one. No, I don't do that. So she asked me like 3 weeks in a row, and I'm like, no, no, I don't do that. But I'll teach you how to do it because I don't do that. I just coach one-on-one. So I tried to teach her a couple things and how to tell her employees, and you know, it was a dismal failure. So I finally was like, fine, I'll come and talk, but don't ask me again because I don't do this. Okay? So I go. You know what's going to happen next, right? So I go in front of this room with four people. God bless those four people. God bless those four people. And oh, by the way, one of the persons in that group was my old acting coach. So now, you know, I've got somebody who I respect and look up to now taking a class from me. So I'm freaking out, right? So I start teaching. I start telling them the scoop, and of course, as you can tell, I love speaking, I love teaching, I love facilitating. It's what I love to do. And all of a sudden, at the end of those 4 hours, I was like, okay, I want to do that again. And so then I started having 10 people in my home one Saturday a month. And then from there, I realized, well, if I want to fill my Saturdays, I better go and start speaking. So then I started speaking to community groups. And then from community groups and speaking and running my little workshops every weekend, 10 people in my living room, people started going, I wish I could give things to my cousin in Cincinnati. I wish I could give to my brother in Mississippi. Do you have anything I could send them? And I was like, oh, okay. So then I started recording every talk I gave and selling my recordings. And then I started transcribing them and turning them into ebooks. They weren't ebooks then. They were little books. I made my own little books back then. And then I would sell packages to people at at events. And then, you know, people were like, we need a book. We need a book. And so then I was like, okay. And so then I wrote a book, you know. And again, it's, you know, obviously a little bit more refined than that. But basically everything I've done has been requested or demanded. It never really was my idea. Now, mind you, do I get tons of ideas? Yes. Yes. Am I an idea person? I bet you can guess yes. You know, I can literally, if you give me a problem, I'll give you 50 ideas to solve it in 15 minutes, and then you and I will pick the best 3, we'll narrow it down to 1, and you'll get going, because that's one of my gifts. But I didn't know that at the time, right? So that's how I did it. I literally created. I was not in a hurry. You know, I think the problem today with you young girls, with you young kids that are just starting out, is that there's so much available, right? Oh, should I write an ebook? Should I teach a workshop? Should I start speaking? You know, all of this is available now, and everybody's doing all different things. And so it's like, what do I do first? What do I do first? Stop everything. Be quiet. Your path is unique to you. Yes, it's good to get advice and instruction when you need it, but you must listen to you. If you get called to write a book, then yes, go look for book support. If you get called to teach a workshop in your living room like I did, great. But when people say to me, well, I want to have 100 people at my first event, I'm like, okay, you can do it. Don't get me wrong. You can totally do it. But I had 10 people in my living room. You know, so don't be in such a hurry to produce greatness. Be more committed to the work itself. And the work itself will bring greatness. When you judge your greatness based on how many people you got enrolled in the room, 1, it may be your skill in enrolling, but 2, it's probably because you can't contain the room with 100 people. People, when I was on TV, when I was on Starting Over, 3 million people watched me a day. Okay, 3 million people watched me every day for 3 years. Okay. People would come up to me, oh, I want to be like you. I want to be on TV. And I would look at them and go, do you know what it takes to hold 3 million people every day? Do you know what I have to do every day to hold? I have to go to bed early. I don't have a lot of things that other people have, because my number one thing is, how can I hold the energy of 3 million people a day to transform? So everyone's such in a hurry. It's like, look, you got your whole life to do your work. This is your life's mission. This is your life's passion. This is your work. This is your blood. Do one step at a time. The next step that's calling you. and do it as best as you can and as crappy as you have to and just do it. And then the next step and just do it. I mean, I was embarrassed by my house. I lived in a 1950s ranch with broken tile on the kitchen floor. And I remember thinking, I can't afford to rent someplace, and I want to do these talks. I want to, have people in my house every Saturday. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. And I literally had like an existential breakdown, like, how can I have people in my house? Ah! And I went, Rhonda, they're not coming for your house, they're coming for the work. But it took me a few months to really invite them to my house. And once they came to my house and nobody said a thing and nobody cared and more people came every week, I went, oh, nobody cares. Yeah. Oh, and and I'm going to say one more thing and then I will, is that I was also at my highest weight back then. And back then I thought, how is anybody going to listen to me? I have a broken tile in my kitchen, my house isn't done, it looks like crap, and I'm fat. That's what I'd say to myself, right? And that too, I did it anyway. And I remember thinking after the first group, nobody cares what my weight is. Nobody cares where I live. They just want to hear what God is moving through me, and it is my responsibility to show up and give it.
Rhonda, you're like speaking to my heart. So good. I mean, one of the things that Shereen and I talk a lot about in our work together is that, and one of the decisions I remember when I left my corporate life and all the success of that, like this deep commitment that just arose was like, I will not do this out of integrity with my own self. And that for me has looked like things really slowing down, because it is about holding energy for people. It is about is it like lived, really, really lived, and maybe I can only do that for 10 people for a while before I can live it for more.
Or forever. Maybe you'll only have 10 clients forever.
Yeah. And the voice
There's nothing better or worse. Speaking to hundreds of people and writing a book is no better than making profound change in 10 people. Writing a book is nice. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. It was awesome. I'm writing another one now. It's awesome. But if that's not your calling, don't force yourself to do it because you're supposed to. Sorry for interrupting.
No, I'm so happy that you did. Amen. I just hope we're all taking it in. Take that one in, guys. I want to answer some people's questions. Tina asks, when you're stuck in that negative thinking cycle about money or weight or, what is a tool you might recommend to shift it in that moment? Yes.
Well, first of all, let's just remove the word negative, okay? I like to reframe the world through the eyes of, you're looking through the eyes of fearlessness or through the eyes of fear, period, end of story. And words for fearlessness can be freedom, they can be God, they can be intuition, they can be divine, they can be your essential nature, they can be your true self, they can be source, they can be universal energy, light. I don't care what word you use for your true nature. Again, it can be fearless, it can be freedom, it can be intuition, it can be God, whatever your word is. So the minute that you think that it's a negative thought, you are actually in the realm of just even thinking the thought is negative, is actually tightening it up and believing you're doing something bad or wrong. So therefore, you had a thought go through you, I don't have the money. I don't have the money went through your thought, went through your brain, thought, okay? Your next thought is, I shouldn't be thinking that. I know better than this. Oh my God, I'm having a negative thought. In that moment, what you're actually doing is binding you tighter to the thought. And you are binding yourself tighter to the fear, okay? So in actuality, the minute you have that thought, negative, not negative, not positive, just a thought. When you have that thought move through you, I don't have the money, your next opportunity is to ask yourself a series of questions. Now I'm going to give you a series of questions. It doesn't really matter the order. You also might find one of these questions call to you more, and one of them really becomes your kind of mantra when you're having that thought and you don't know what to do. So I'm not saying you have to ask every single one of these questions or they have to be in this order. I'm just going to give you a bunch of different ways to ask yourself certain questions, and you choose the one or the two that really call to you, okay? So let's do it. I don't have the money. I sure wish I could take that class, okay? Your next opportunity is going, wow, am I making that up or is that a fact? Am I making that up or is that a fact? Well, I look in my checking account and I don't have the money to do it. Okay, well, is there some way that I can make extra money? Is there a way that I can budget different? Am I really saying that I don't have the money? If something came down, if my best friend was getting married, would I all of a sudden have that $500, that $400, that $1,000? Would I all of a sudden find the money if I had to? So I probably have the money. I might just be scared to take that action because how do I know it's going to work for me, right? So the first question is, am I making it up or is it a thought? Okay. The next question you can ask yourself is, wait a minute. Who's talking right now? Is that fear talking or is that freedom? Is that my highest and best self? Is that the divine? Is God talking to me now? Or is that my fear talking? Oh, that's fear talking. Oh, do I want to actually get advice from fear? No, I don't. Okay, got it. Thanks. Right? So we want to start having discernment, awake ourselves to discernment about who we're listening to. You are not the one that says, I don't have enough money. Fear tells you, I don't have enough money, because it wants to keep you safe and small and secure, and it can't keep you safe and secure if you go into the crazy unknown. If you take a class, if you teach with somebody, crazy things could happen, right? So there's no guarantee in life, by the way, even in a class, but there's no guarantee in life. Even if they have that 30-day guarantee or that a year guarantee, there's no guarantees, right? Because you have to do the work, right? If you do my work, you're going to change your life. But I can't guarantee you're going to do the work. You can only guarantee that, right? So you have to decide to invest in your own life. And you have to decide to listen to fear or freedom. That's your choice. You have to have the discernment and start building the discernment so that you know who to listen to when that voice is talking to you. Make sense?
Absolutely.
So the first thing is no judgment. It's not a negative thought. It's just a thought. And then the third thing I offer you is innocence and compassion. You know, the reason that fear talks to us in those moments is because it is scary. It is scary to hire a coach or sign up for a class or to fall in love or to get a new job or to open your business. It is scary. So honor it. Acknowledge it. Love yourself for it, so that then you can make the choice from your fearless part of yourself, the freedom part, the true divine part, the intuitive part, and you can start moving on and getting on with your life. So see your innocence, see your willingness, and open your heart to yourself.
Beautiful. It's like I see that fear, I love it up, I embrace it, and I do it anyway because it's truth for me.
Yeah, and just so some people can't do it anyway, right? So they don't have the courage to do it anyway. And, you know, so I think sometimes, you know, I think one of the harms that we can do, and I know this is not what you're saying, I'm actually shifting a little bit, is we expect people to do what we did, right? And know, and like, you know, feel the fear and do it anyway. I think feel the fear and do it anyway is nice, and it can be useful, but it also, some people can't do it anyway. I could not do it anyway. I could not do it anyway. I needed more than that. I needed more. So be conscious if you're in the vein of beating yourself up by, well, I should just be able to do it now that I see fear. I should just do it anyway. It's like maybe not. Right. Maybe you need one more step. Maybe you need a little bit more love. Maybe you need a little support. Maybe you need a little guidance. Maybe you need a little hug. Maybe you need just a little more worth and value in yourself to take that next step. So I'm really, you know, cliches are cliches for a reason because they work, but cliches when you're in fear can be overwhelming.
I appreciate you really calling attention to that and distinguishing the two, because I wholeheartedly agree, and I feel like even as someone who does healing work, sometimes the healing is not that any external thing changes. It's just that someone has been loved a little bit more and the relationship has changed something inside of them, and that's it. That's enough.
Yes, I love healing. I love getting healing energy work. Oh, I love it.
So I feel like I know we're getting to the end of our time and we started late. I always want to honor everyone's time, Rhonda's and the attendees and all that. But at the same time, I feel like you guys are on such a roll that I don't want to cut us off. So
I'm fine to keep going for, to give us ourselves a full hour. I'm totally happy. We were, I think, 10, 15 minutes late. So if everybody else is okay, I'm okay.
Okay, I love that. Thank you for that. That makes me so happy. I'm not gonna lie. So I actually wanted to share a couple of these chats that are coming through. They're not questions, but it's people who have either watched you from your TV show or been on your mailing list or been in your world in some way who are beyond touched by you. And so I just feel like, why not love on Rhonda a little bit? You know what I'm saying? All right, so we have one of our attendees, Patricia, who's saying she really needed to hear this today, and she's the type that wants everything like tomorrow or like yesterday, and that she just launched her first online program, got 5 people to sign up, and was kind of down on herself, so this is actually really speaking to her. So she's thank you, Rhonda. Yes, I know. And then we have Classic, who actually I know her personally. Classic, I'm so glad you're with us today. She says she makes this mistake that she has to have everything perfect before she can move forward, kind of like that idea that you'll go to church when you get yourself together. So she's like, I just got to do it. Thank you, Rhonda. Aileen says this is totally speaking to her. John quoted you and you said you must listen to you, and he said that's freaking priceless. I have a long one. I'm going to read it because I just want to love you up. Like, I feel like you give a lot, and we need to just give it right back. So Pam, she says, hi, Rhonda. I can remember watching you every day when you were on Starting Over. I've always wanted to have coaching with you. Between you and Miss Van Zant, I could never miss a show. I would love to talk with Rhonda personally after watching my husband go through the worst set of circumstances possible in the medical industry. I believe I have a lot to offer the public in experience and would love your assistance, even knowing that you require thousands of dollars in investments. So where can she find you, Rhonda?
Anybody can find me at Rhonda Britten, RhondaBritten.com. I'm actually teaching a workshop for the first time in 7 years at the end of the month in Washington, D.C., the Fearless Foundation workshop. So go to RhondaBritten.com, and you can email me directly at Rhonda@RhondaBritten.com, and make sure that's RhondaBritten.com. And if you go on my opt-in in the home page, you'll get on my email list. And if you want to coach with me privately, email me at Rhonda@RhondaBritten.com. And if you want to just take the Fearless Foundation workshop or join me for the coaching program or all the other programs I do, just go to RhondaBritten.com and sign up on my homepage, and you will get all the information you need.
Woohoo!
Thank you for
asking, we have
Pam.
Another one. Yeah, exactly. Go, Pam. You get your Rhonda, sister. You get it, girl. All right, so we have Sharon. She says, this is a long one. Hi, Rhonda. I want to thank you for your support, knowledge, passion, and most of all, your love. I had back pain problems for 20 years, and I had 3 back fusion surgeries and still tons of pain. From working with you, I learned to be happy, being me, and loving me above and beyond my pain. I was promoted to relief casino shift manager, and I'm in charge of the whole casino because of everything I learned from you. I was able to rise above my pain by having compassion and love for myself with horrible pain. I had major surgery this past summer. It was 2 surgeries in 2 days, 5 hours, and the second one was 12 hours. My surgeon told me on my second post-op that I am the strongest person he's ever met, and I'm now pain-free and off all of my pain meds for the first time in 20 years. I'm learning who I am now using the tools you gave me, and I'm doing amazing, and I owe it all to you. Thank you so much. I love you, Rhonda. You rock. It's
Thank
good,
you.
right?
You, yes, it's so good. It's so good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that. I'm so thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being in this journey with me. Thank you. So beauty, such beauty.
Yeah. So cool. Okay, so Julie, what should we do next?
Well, I just want to let everybody know, if you've been joining, if you really would like some support, and we're offering complimentary custom Freedom Blueprint sessions because it's just what we're here on the planet to do and what Shereen and I love to do. So I want you to check out that little pop-up and click on over if you'd like to apply and really get clear on your plan, really get clear on what is your highest calling, how do you step towards it, what fear might be in the way of that we can hold with you and for you. So check that out if it's something, an opportunity you'd like to take advantage of. I'd love love, love, love to connect with any one of you could use that support right now. And so please click on over. That's what I was thinking we should just mention so people have the opportunity. I have this question, Rhonda, and I'm curious because, I'm curious through this journey, like you speak about intuition, but like I'm curious how that, just something, of course, because I'm an intuitive, I'm always curious about people's stories, like how that looks like for you in your life that you use your intuition, and if it's gotten, how it's gotten stronger, what helps it to get stronger, and what helps you listen to it more?
For me, intuition and the divine are the same. Intuition, God, source, again, are all the same to me. Freedom, fearless, the whole thing. So what's really supported me is really understanding my wheel of fear, that's my work. It's like I do believe that we all have core fears, and I do believe that those fears show up in fear responses, and I do believe that we all have an essential nature that's been denied us and hidden from us because of our fear. And, having that framework has really helped me discern between the voice of fear and the voice of freedom. And, has my intuition got stronger? Yes. Do I use it every day? Yes. Do I use it every minute? Almost. Whether when I'm walking out of the house, do I need anything else? That's not necessarily for my brain to answer. That's for my intuition to answer. So I'll give you a quick example. I got this feeling, intuition, saying, hide a key under the mat. Hide an extra key under the mat. I'm like this. Hide a key under the mat? I'm not going to hide a key under the mat. Everybody knows to put the that the key's hidden under the mat. I can't hide a key under the mat. I live in Los Angeles, California, for gosh sakes. And it was really loud. It was like, hide a key under the mat. And I didn't do it. Okay? I had a friend staying over with me, and she got locked out. And she had to break a window to get in because I did not hide a key under the mat. So
I've been there, done that a few times.
When God talks to me, I better listen. And do I listen all the time? Of course not, because I too, want to have my input, but God is really gentle with me. Source is really gentle with me. Intuition is very gentle with me, and it keeps guiding me and supporting me because it knows I love it. A really quick way to determine if you're listening to fear or intuition is the following. I'll just give a quick little tip before we close. Is the key way to know if it's fear talking to you and giving you that idea of opening a business, or if it's your intuition and God telling you open that business or to put that product out or anything. It's, God, one of the fallacies is God always expands you. Like there's a whole fallacy that when you're listening to your intuition and God, you'll always feel expanded. No, that's not true. Sometimes you'll be scared shitless. Excuse my language. Sugar beanless. You'll be scared, right? So it's not always going to feel expansive. So I'd like to get rid of that myth now. And then the other myth I'd like to get rid of is that God always says yes and intuition always says no. No, not true either. God says no too. So this is the difference though when God tells you no and when fear tells you no. Should I write that book right now, God? Maybe you just want to sit on it for a minute. No hurry. Just it's not maybe the right time. Just like you can wait. Just God's like really like, no, not the right time. Fear will tell you, you can't write a book now. I mean, do you know what happened last time? And how are you going to have the marketing for that? I mean, it costs $150,000 to buy a New York Times bestseller. That's what everybody does now is they buy their New York Times bestsellers. It costs $150,000 to pay someone to get you a New York Times bestseller. That's why we have to be suspect to New York Times bestsellers. Most of them are bought now. Not all, but many. And so, how am I going to get $150,000 to buy that New York Times bestseller? Because if I'm going to write a book, I've got to be a New York Times bestseller. That's fear. That's fear. God will say, yeah, or might want to wait. Your ego, your fear is the one that says it should happen this way. So I'll give you one more example real quick. A guy came up to me one time and said, I know it was from God. I was supposed to open this business. I know it was God. It was God telling me to open this business. I know it. I mean, I felt it. I knew it was God, and it failed. How can it fail? I said, did God tell you it would be a success? See, God tells you to do something. He or she never gives you results. We're the ones that go, oh, God told me to do this. That must mean I'm going to be. No, God didn't say that. And then the other thing I said to this gentleman about his business, I said, so did you work as hard as you could to become the great leader and the great business person you could be? Or did you think because God told you to do it, that he would do everything and you could just sit back? It's a co-creation, buddy. So, yeah, did he do everything? No. He just thought God told him, and he did it, so he thought it would just be successful. And he didn't have to grow. He didn't have to change. He didn't have to learn. He didn't have to dig deep. No, co-creation, co-creation. Your next step is your next co-creation. So God does not give results. You make them up.
I love that. So true.
So good. So, Rhonda, I want to ask you, since now we're getting to the 15-minute mark after, if you were to sort of leave all the people who have attended today with any last Rhonda words of wisdom about sort of that idea of awakening to their higher calling and really stepping into entrepreneurship, if that is their calling, what are your final words?
If you heard nothing from me today, these are the words that I want to leave you with. There is nothing wrong with you. You're not stupid. You're not lazy. You're not imperfect. You're not a procrastinator. You're not a complainer or a judger. You're not any of those things. You are not those things. That's just fear talking. You decide to live fearlessly. You decide to live fearlessly. You decide to live fearlessly. That's not who you are. It's just fear.
Love that. Thank you, Rhonda.
You're welcome. It was so much fun.
It was so much fun. I'm so glad you got we jumped over the technical difficulties and were able to make it happen, because this was like literally amazing. It was so great.
Oh, yay. Good. I know. Thank you for hanging in, ladies. I'm sorry it took me a half hour to figure it out, but we did it. So thank you. Great team. I really appreciate you hanging in, and you were so patient and loving the whole time. You weren't like, God, Rhonda. I mean, you were just like, so like, okay, figure this out. So I so appreciate you just being with me, and that's fearlessness in action. So you both exhibited such great fearlessness, and I'm thankful for everyone who attended today. So grateful for your open-heartedness and open-mindedness as I shared with you, and the great questions and the great connection. So I've been blessed. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. The replay will be available for 24 hours, so check that out. We'll send you a link, and come back tomorrow because we've got some more goodness, and so appreciate you being here. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.